Follow along with us tonight as we make a meal completely from preps, dry goods and canned goods that we have available without using anything out of the refrigerator or the freezer. This is quite a test. I hope you enjoy watching it. Hello everybody and welcome to Hideaway Homestead. Tonight's video is going to be about using our stored, stockpiled food items to make a meal completely using the stored items. What I decided to make tonight out of our supplies is scalloped potatoes with ham and green beans. We also have some of our homemade bread and butter pickles and some pineapple, and I'm hoping that we can also use the hot oven to make some yummy biscuits to put our own homemade grape jelly on. All of these things will come from our stored items, including the water, I suppose, if you look at that. Let's get started. The thing that will take the longest is our scalloped potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and get my water heating, boiling. I have to have 2 cups of boiling water to make this. The other ingredient is milk. And I thought about this a little bit. What kind of milk do I want to use? I have 3 options that came to mind as far as what we can use for milk. And I decided on the non-fat dry milk. This was out of stock for a long time after the coronavirus hit, but now it was in stock at our Walmart again, and I decided to use this. These are probably the least expensive of the milk options. The other milk options that I had were evaporated milk in a can, or to have the boxed milk, the shelf-stable milk. We've been buying that recently also, but this seemed to be the best option for me tonight, and so that's what I'm using. This was fairly new because it was purchased in the past 6 months. The scalloped potatoes require water and milk, and so I can go ahead and cut these packages open and get them ready for our boiling water to be added. I find that these packages stay good on the shelf for quite a while. I think this was a fairly recent purchase and is best by 2021. So we've got a while before this goes bad. September 13, 2021, so I've got over a year before they suggest that it will go bad. We have kept some of these on our shelves for longer than that period of time with mixed results. Sometimes they do okay, and sometimes they had little mealy bugs in them, and that didn't look good, or they just weren't as fresh as they should have been. But I do like this idea to have some kind of a potato product if you don't have something that you've been able to grow or have fresh. I think we had 2 cups of boiling water, and I do this to myself all the time. I move the box, and then I don't remember how much milk to add. I think that says half a cup of milk, and so, or no, it says a 1/4 cup of milk, so that's what we'll do. I already preheated my oven, so we can go put this in right away because it does take a while to cook. One thing to keep in mind always is to use your oldest items from your pantry first. This particular package had the oldest best by date on it, but I had 2 more. These are good till 2021 and 2022, so I'll put them back in the pantry and we'll have those for another time. I had a situation a couple of years ago where we were using a motorhome out here as we built our cabin, and there was this awful smell in it. tracked it back to a can of ham that had gone past its prime and then some, and oh, it was not a good thing. So they can go bad. We found that out. Oh, it makes me suspicious of these every time. Now these cans of ham are not pretty slices like you might want to slice and mix in, but I think what I'll do, since they're sort of in little bits, is I'll just mix this in so every bite will have some yummy ham in it, and it will flavor it up very nicely. What do you think, Kevin? Does it need more ham? Why not?
Sure. Can't have too much of that.
We watched a video from someone that put up the other day on prepping supplies and things like that, and this gentleman suggested that you only cook enough for your particular meal. And in some situations that's very smart. If you don't have a way to refrigerate your leftovers or don't have the ability to store them and use them in a reasonable amount of time, I can see where that's a good plan. But Kevin and I have found that it's helpful sometimes to have larger portions that then we can use for our lunches another day or something like that. So we don't really follow that rule of only cooking enough for one meal. This probably is plenty enough for 4 servings or more, but we'll eat it, just the 2 of us, for supper tonight. For our side item with this meal, I've planned to have green beans. We have canned green beans that are in our stockpile. We also have canned our own homegrown green beans. But for tonight, I came across a couple of cans that were going to the edge of their expiration date, so I decided to go ahead and use those up, even though I really like our own home canned things best. But I decided we'll use these up and before they go bad and become pig food or something like that. So that's my choice for tonight. You could go either way, or in some situations we would have fresh vegetables that we could use, but we're talking tonight cooking just out of our stockpile and out of our pantry, so that's what we're going to do for now. One thing that all the preppers suggest, or the preparedness people, is that you have several good can openers. Evidently, some people get all busy about saving up the food items and don't remember that they're going to have some way to open those cans, not with their teeth or something like that, a rock or some other kind of creative method. So we have found a bunch of can openers. We've gone through a lot of them in our marriage, and some of them have worked well and some of them haven't worked well. I keep several on hand, but I have my favorites that I know are going to work well. Some of them just bite into your hands and they're not comfortable to use, but they get the job done. I got creative with my cooking from the stockpile ideas today and thought about brownies. All of this on the table came from the stockpile, so I can use my spray oil. This is olive oil, but it doesn't really matter. It's my first time to use this particular baking pan, so I sort of went overboard, but that's okay. This looks good. Supreme triple chunk brownie mix. I bet Kevin will help me eat them. He's just good like that. So the mix was in our stockpile, and it's nice to have things in your stockpile that are more than just your basic food items, but that can be a treat. If it does end up that you're having to eat out of your stockpile for a long period of time, you're going to get awful tired of beans and rice with variety of rice with beans or something like that after a long period of time. So something sweet might be a really nice treat. I think it called for water and then cooking oil. And I cracked my egg into a bowl just to be sure that this is one that hasn't been around hiding in the chicken coop for too long. Kevin's pretty good about finding all their hiding places and getting the eggs while they're still good, but every once in a while we get a creative hen who likes to hide her eggs. And that really would be very disappointing to have all this brownie mix out and me to have ruined it with a bad egg. Oh, that's making me sad just thinking about it. So, once we get our scalloped potatoes and ham out of the oven and our biscuits done, then I can cool the oven down a little bit and cook these brownies. And after a while, they will cool, and Kevin and I will be very happy to have these with some milk. I'm finding all kinds of ways to use the milk. So you don't have to really worry that I'm not going to be able to use it up. There we go, ready to go in the oven as soon as the oven cools down. This is going to be good. Helpful. Biscuit mix is something I find very helpful, useful in our stockpile because there's so many things you can make with it. We like to make strawberry shortcakes using the biscuit mix. Oh, they're so good, and they're more of a biscuity kind of shortcake than your cake-style shortcake, but we really like it. I have been putting my boxes in these containers just to keep bugs out in case something wants to find them and burrow in. But this turns out is a brand new package that I haven't used yet. For the two of us, I'm just making half a recipe because we don't eat that many biscuits, and I'm going to move it over here just for now to get it out of the way. We're using the dried milk, reconstituted, again for this, and this is such an easy way to make biscuits for the two of us. What kind of things are you making out of your stockpile? I was telling Kevin today I could do a creative video on how to open the can of soup or how to open and warm the beef stew, something like that, but those are great and quick and easy. And I appreciate them, and they have a really good use. But after a while, you might not have enough of those to go around, or you might need another kind of protein. So what kind of things have you done? I started making a list, and I was coming up with some pretty long list. I'm going to add more milk. But a lot of the things that I had on my list were available to us because we have canned our own meat. We've canned chicken breasts in canning jars. We've canned roast beef, and oh, those are so good and so helpful. With that, I can go make my own stew or make roast beef and gravy over mashed potatoes or with rice or noodles or something like that. Lots of ideas to use the roast beef, and then our canned chicken breast. Oh my, we can do a lot of things with that. And recently, this past week, we got a really good deal on ground beef. So we canned in canning jars cooked ground beef. And I've got all kinds of recipes of things that we can use with the already cooked ground beef. So please, give us some ideas, because after a while, maybe I'm thinking of all the old faithfuls, but Kevin might appreciate something that he hasn't eaten a couple hundred times in our married life. So if you could help Kevin out by giving him and me some new ideas, we would appreciate it, especially Kevin would, I'm sure. So yeah, put something in the comment section. These look like very small biscuits. Maybe they will get bigger, or maybe we will just eat two and be very happy. So I'm going to put these in the oven. It's the same temperature as I needed for my scalloped potatoes, so I can use that same temperature. And pretty quick, we're going to have our supper ready to eat. Thanks for joining us tonight as we made up our meal completely out of the pantry, if you could call it that, or out of our preps or our stockpile, all of canned goods and items dry goods that we had on hand here without using anything from the fridge or the freezer, or actually anything from our gardens tonight. So nothing fresh either. Please do give us suggestions of things that you use or that you can make out of just your dry goods and canned goods and those kinds of preps, and help us along with some ideas. Kevin will especially appreciate it, as I said earlier. Look at how we ended up, or what we ended up with. It's time to eat. Looking good. We got a nice color. I think pineapple goes very well with ham, so that was my canned fruit of choice. We've got our canned bread and butter pickles, our home canned grape jelly, and then our green beans, and our scalloped potatoes with ham. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe now and hit the bell so that you will get notifications. Please tell your friends and family and other people that you think might be interested in our channel and what we're doing here on our homestead, and let them know about it so that they can watch too. That would help us out a whole lot. So until next time, we're going to eat, and I hope you have a very good day.